Hello and welcome back to another RTK video. Today I, Overbear Black, am going to be revisiting the Slaanesh tier list. This will be a bit weird today, a bit different, but if you like it, we do very much appreciate that you actually like the video and subscribe. It really does help and grow so we can keep producing this into the future, into the 41st millennium. So, why am I doing this? Well, mainly because there's a lot of things here that have not really changed, but I was wrong about. And I think it's fair to give Slaanesh another go when I'm a bit more experienced with video editing and I played more Slaanesh. I will caveat this, I haven't played as much Slaanesh recently, but I played into lots of Slaanesh, and I have some quite clear opinions that I think lots of you will agree with. Well, I hope you will. But if you don't agree, please let me know in the comments or join our Discord and tell me there. So what are we going to do here? First of all, important to define the tiers. S should be basically auto take. A is good in most matchups. Slaanesh is weird because so many units would be amazing in other factions. If it is just good, it's going to end up in A. B, bit situational, bit niche. Would you ever take this? C, often if it's outclassed by something, it's in C. And D, this is just a bad unit. So, what I think we'll do is we'll start from the top and work down. I think it's fair to say both casters stay in S. They're just the cheapest lord, most unit. Slangors, Forsaken, they are some of the best infantry in the game. You will not leave home without them. Hellstriders, some of the best light cav. It's incredibly efficient. Vanguard, Strider, oh goodness, they will not change. Same with Fiends, their debuff is good, their models are janky, they do good damage. Amazing units. So, on to the champions, the Pleasure Guard, I think. I think they're just a bit too expensive. And I think we're going to make our first swap here because there is a better unit for a similar price in the Pleasure Seekers. These guys, they're just so amazing. I was like, oh, they get shot a bit. And that is true. But they hit like an absolute freight train. And they just do so much damage that you could take them in basically any faction. They'll just kill whatever they want and just not die on the way in. And that's fine. And I just think they're just one of the best units on this roster. So, I think they're probably up in S. It's the first one we're going to see today. Sigvold, he's fine. I did have him in here and like, oh, if you're worried about your lore gates up someone like Wood Elves. But realistically, what you should just be doing is bring your caster and not get your lord sniped. So, I think he's probably deserving to be dropped down to B tier. He's fine, but there's not masses of reasons to bring him. Now, the mask. She was an A because I used the mortars, and the mortar effect was okay. It wasn't particularly amazing, it was pretty solid. But once it was pointed out to me, that vigor replenishment one, oh my god, this thing is disgusting. This vigor replenishment is just like horrific. It drains fights. It means stuff like hippos, crocodile, stuff that's normally good into Slaanesh and good at fighting down his hero squads. Sucks. She does damage. She's got her heal. Straight into S tier. S tier lord. There's a reason she's banned in every tournament. Heralds are next. I just don't. They're fine. Like if you want to bring heralds, you could bring heralds. They probably could be in B, but I'll leave them there as they're not massively egregious. Nakari, for me, they're just so expensive for keepers. And you have the mask, you have both heroes, but he's still okay into lots of factions. He's still the keeper I pick, so he can just about stay in A. Striker, his aura's good, but I think for him, he gets replaced here. He gets dropped down to B, and a better hero comes to take his place in the Exalted Hero, who has minus 13 melee attack debuff, I believe, plus others. He's just insane. He's also got a Pebble of Inevitability. He is an amazing debuff tool. I played a game today where him and a Demon Prince meant my opponent had 0 melee attack and couldn't damage me, and that was cracked. And he's actually a fairly good character. Since seeing this guy being playing around a bit, shout out to Seeper for being the one to beat me over the head with it. He's A tier. So he'll stay in A tier. Got 2 heroes. Magic good. Don't know why they don't leave A. Now for Marauders. they're going to drop down a bit. Why? Because if there is a style for going for the super wide stuff, you're just going to take these guys first, and as soon as you max out a Slang or some Forsaken, maybe you have like one Marauder. They're not amazing. Like, they're quite good for ITP, they're still incredibly good infantry, but they're not amazing. Hellstrider's whips, I like them, they're solid. I often take one or two, I think they can stay in A. Now, for Seekers, I think they deserve in B. Why? Because Pleasure Seekers are so good, Fiends are so good, they're just so squishy. And that's a real issue. There's so many games where I chuck a light cav out, but after they've charged, they just drown in bodies, and they just can't pay for themselves. They're still good, and they're still in B. Like, Slash's B tier is still, like, completely serviceable. If this was, like, all these units were on Lizardman as well, they'd all be in A tier, but Slaanesh, they're B tier unit. Furies, they're a good flying unit. Their AP means they actually melt armoured stuff, which combos really well with your Hellstriders without AP. Incredibly good units. The Riders of the Mighty Serpent, they go up one. As with the Horsemen, because Riders of the Mighty Serpent are better. They're insane, magic damage, anti-large, absolute cracked unit. Horsemen, Kite is such a good tool in Slaanesh, easily belong in A tier. You probably bring them in every matchup for Riders of the Serpent. Often bring a Horseman with them. Nothing wrong there. Now, as we keep moving down, or drop single down, T'Challa, she's got to go into C. She's just so expensive. I just would never see her coming on Slaanesh. She's fine, but she's just too expensive. Similar to Azazel, Strike we mentioned. Now, for keepers. See, for me, I just would never bring a keeper at the moment, but they're not bad. So I'll stay in B. Ent used to have really good success in them. Bit overshadowed after the DLC, but still a solid unit. Exalted Demons, I love these units. These guys are just so good. They're just absolute blenders. I could see you saying you get them in A because they are a really good unit. They are very expensive, but they offer a tool in lots of matchups. Slaanesh doesn't have just an absolute armor blender that can clear out positions. Go down Warriors. They need to go down to C. So expensive. The ROR, down to C. Just too expensive. Whips, down to C. Too expensive. And that's the key thing with lots of this stuff. Chosen, I think it's solid, but it's just so expensive in an expensive roster. You don't want them often. Forsaken and Slang will just relegate all your infantry. Chaos Knights, I actually quite like a Chaos Knight. It's not egregious. It's probably B tier. But we'll leave it there for now just because it offers us something that you always don't have in some heavy armoured cav. Very good into stuff like Wood Elves, all those shooting factions which just want a bit more armoured because otherwise this stuff's all going to get killed by light shooting. Now we are a Heartseeker, I think drops down to C. You have Pleasure Seekers, you have Fiends. Now, since getting Pleasure Seekers, there's no reason to really bring this. Just so much more flimsy, so susceptible to spells. Really not brilliant unit. Moving on. Chaos Lord, down to D. You got T'Challa. Why you bring this guy with a mask? Or like, it's just such a baffling choice of thing. He's not, I don't think, bad in himself. I just would never bring him. Demon Prince is a bit goofy, but I think he stays in C. Solely because he is such a good debuff and he can pair really well with a hero. But it can be quite funny. And I like that. Cultist. It's just, I've got to drop it into D. Like, it's, leave it at C. The summon is still good. It just is so squishy as a hero. It gets beat on by anything. And often dies before the summon comes up. But like, it situationally can be useful. But I would never see anyone bring it. I don't see any justification. Whip Warriors, for 950, they're so expensive. They like quite good stats, but you're basically there with a Chosen. And as you've seen, all the infantry's coming down because it's just not that valuable in the current meta. Mirror Guard, 1000 gold. Often I just want the Chosen. They're an okay unit, but I'd probably put them in D tier. You're never really bringing them. They're just too expensive. Demonettes. So, the Russian Berserk, he always brings Demonettes. They're like niche to me. I'd always just spend on an Exalted Demonet or something else. But they're not bad in themselves. I think they're probably a solid C tier unit. Devotees. They start with crossbows easily. Crossbows are easy A. They're good into lots of matchups. They've got good damage output. They offer something that Slaanesh doesn't otherwise have, and they do solve problems. The issue with the devotees is you're like, oh, get beaten by slangles. They do actually trade really nicely, and their abilities can combo quite well. So I've had some success, I've seen others have some success, and I'd probably put them as a BT unit. If I had to not have slangles, I'd probably bring a couple of devotees. They're solid. They're fairly quick, they're agile, and that helps get around where the Chaos Warriors are just too slow. Chariots. You just don't need them on Slaanesh. You've got Pleasure Seekers, you've got Fiends. Massa's not really an issue for Slaanesh. They're fine. I think the ROR is just a bit expensive, to be honest, but I think they both sit here fine. Regular Heart Seekers into the Gutter Can. You're not going to bring this unit. And it's not. This is the issue of Slaanesh. It's not bad. But in comparison to Slaanesh, why would you ever bring it? And that's with me is why do you ever bring this unit? If we move down the list, Spawn, you never bring this unit. Praetons, I've actually seen them do okay. I'm not massive fans, I don't actually know what they do, so they probably stay there. All three big SEs, they're fine for hunting stuff, they're not particularly amazing. But you can argue your way there. Then you've got all these expensive units which just don't have a place. Finish off the Anointed, War Shrine. They're all just too squishy. They just don't. In the Slaanesh roster, you're not bringing them. You're bringing these very efficient units. And I think this is how I finished the tier list. One thing I will caveat for those who just skip to the end and take a video. This is within Slaanesh itself. And so there's some units here. If you're rearranging, they'd often jump up. Like lots of these units are easy B, easy A. If this wasn't Slaanesh. But it's Slaanesh. So you've then got to compare it to say, in Slaanesh, how good are these units? So comparative, these units are cracked. These units are garbage. You'll never bring any of these units, really. Because you can bring these units. And that's the hard sell for me here, when thinking about Slaanesh. Well, I hope everyone enjoyed the video. If you do like it, please do like it. And do tell me your opinions, because I'm sure I'll have lots of people with their own hot takes. Until then, see you in the next video.